hit the ground running. Start this right now. Start it before the New Year's. I'm telling you, you'll feel so much better if you start this before the New Year's because you'll think that you have a one-up.
The millennial generation is as follows.
Welcome to
Surrounded by idiots.
Radio Podcast.
Coast to coast and around the world, this is the Surrounded by Idiots radio podcast, and I am your host, Tony Dufresne, PhD. Really great to be back with you. I hope things are going great towards the end of the year here for a lot of us, and I know that you guys listen to me in so many different countries, but I know for a lot of us it's a Christmas thing or it's a Hanukkah thing, and it's sort of the holidays towards the end of the year. Then there's the New Year's. And for those of you who don't celebrate Christmas or any of the end-of-the-year holiday stuff, there's always New Year's Eve. And then a lot of people go into the New Year's resolution thing. So I hope as things wind down for this year, I hope things are good with you. And thank you for joining me. And let's get the ball rolling here. What I want to do is I would like to give you a running start into the new year. Instead of the New Year's resolution thing, which, as you know, I'm not a big fan of because resolution sets you up for failure because you expect too much. When you do a resolution, there's too many little pieces that you need to do in such a short period of time. You're pretty much setting yourself up for failure. Instead of doing that, let's just do something really simple right now, like 10 days before the beginning, or like 2 weeks before the beginning of the new year. What I'd like to do is share with you 3 ways to be ahead of the game before the new year. 3 things to do to be ahead of the game and to get a running start. To get your groove, get a little bit of a jog going. Then when you get through Christmas and the holidays, if you overindulge, if you go into a shame spiral like I do because you eat too much, if you do any of that stuff, at least you have momentum going into creating some change into the new year, which will make you feel better and everything will be good and people will be happy and there'll be parties and whatever. So here's what I want to do. Here are the 3 things. The 3 ways to be ahead of the game before the new year. Number 1, take a self-inventory right now. Get out a piece of paper. I'm not saying do this in your head. You'll never remember it, and it won't stick. Get out a piece of paper. You're going to do 3 things. You're going to do a work self-inventory, which you're going to put down where you were at last year this time, where you're at now, and where you expected to be. Now, a lot of times, I'm thinking for the most part, people that are listening to this, you always want to be a little bit more. You always move the carrot out instead of being just okay with where you're at. That's a problem that we all have. We overachievers and perfectionists have. We always move the carrot on ourselves. But what I would like you to do is you need to find out where you're at now. It's really important. You also need to recognize the accomplishments that you've made over the past year. Really important because so many of us, especially the ultra achievers, we don't give ourselves credit for doing things. And even the small things matter a lot. Making subtle changes matter a lot because there's big shifts that happen when you make subtle changes. So for work, you put how you doing now, how your work is now, how fulfilling it is, where you're at, what you like, what you don't like, whatever. You put then you put what has changed over the past year, good and bad. Has it gotten better? Has it gotten a little bit worse? And then you put in there where you want it to be or where you want it to go. So what it was a year ago, what it is now, and where you would like it to go. And so that gives you a pretty good idea of which direction you continue to want. And it may shed some light on whether you want to stay in that job or not, because sometimes that is the case. And again, like we've talked about before, even if the job isn't totally fulfilling, it may be something that you need to do in the interim, like in the meantime, while you work on your side gig. So that's the work. The relationships, it's the same thing. The where you're at now with your relationships, how strong they are. Are you in a relationship, like an intimate boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife thing? Is it working for you? Is it not working for you? Friends, work, all of those relationships, where you were a year ago, where you are at now, and then where you expected to be or you want to be. Are you okay? Are you good? Are you in good shape? Or is there growth that you can do throughout that? Is there more growth there? The third thing is fun in terms of the self inventory. So there's work, there's relationships, and there's fun. What fun things did you do this year? What fun things did you expect to do this year? What fun things do you want to do now? I mean, what are the things that you kind of want to plan ahead and do? Those are the three parts of your life that I would like you to do a little self-inventory on. And don't beat yourself up. Most of the time when I do this, I do this every single year. It's like for work, it's like for me this year, focusing more time on getting my message out was a big goal of mine, objective of mine. To work on the podcast, to try to tweak that to make it more succinct, more better, more entertaining, and to develop an online program. So at the beginning of the year, I didn't have an online program. I did have the podcast, and my message was, I was still doing marketing, like Facebook marketing, social media marketing, but it wasn't extreme. At the beginning of the year, I wanted to get all that stuff going. Right now, I didn't do a lot in terms of the Facebook marketing, more so than I have before, because my focus shifted during that period of time. The podcast, I'm still tweaking every single time I put it, and I put one out once a week, give or take. This is like the episode 157 or 158. And the online program, no. You know why? Because once I got into it and started peeling that damn onion away, I realized there's a lot more layers there than I thought. And I've got to learn a lot more things, and I've got to do a lot more things as a basis and a foundation to get an online program out there. I don't want to just create something to create something, because anybody can do that. I mean, any therapist, any philosopher, coach, whatever, they can create something that's super generic. That's something that you can really find anywhere. You can actually find it on YouTube for free instead of paying somebody $500 to go through a program. So I want to develop something unique, and my problem is the more I dug into it, the more I realized I don't know what angle I want to take, and so that's my process I'm going through. And that's my work inventory thing is a small example. And I did that with relationships, and I did that with fun too. I mean, I did some traveling this year that I wanted to do. I didn't do some traveling that I wanted to do. I tried new restaurants. What do I want to do? I want to do more stuff. So it's always good to know where you're at, where you were at, where you're at now, and recognize those accomplishments, recognize the growth that you had over the year, and then, what didn't happen. And then, how can you kind of fit it in for the remaining year or whatever. That's the first part. The second part is now you have your self-inventory and you have kind of a game plan to go with before the beginning of the year. The second way to be ahead of the game before the new year is to tweak your system now. Your system is your conscious and unconscious movements and behaviors that you do every single day. What I want to do at this moment is focus on your morning routine. Super important to start off your morning and get some momentum, because it's all about momentum. Get your momentum going in the morning. So I would like you to take a look at your system and how it is in terms of when you get up, and when you get ready, and if you shower, or if you shower the night before, and what you do, and your timing, and if you eat something, or if you drink coffee, or if you don't, and getting to work, or whatever, or getting to school, or whatever you happen to do. Usually there's something in that system that you can do a little bit of a tweak to make it more efficient. And really, because that's what we're all about. We're all about constant improvement in things to make our lives more efficient. And those things give us space to do the things that we would like to do to empower other people and to do and share our gift and stuff. So take one little small change to your daily routine, your morning routine, like maybe getting up to, if you're always late, I know somebody who's always late, maybe getting up 10 minutes earlier. That's it. Just set your alarm for 10 minutes earlier. That's it. Or doing a quick 5-minute journal in the morning. Or instead of just having coffee, throw a piece of toast in there and have a little bit something more in there. That'll keep you going instead of you crashing off your caffeine thing in like an hour and a half. Something that will tweak your system that will benefit you throughout the entire day. So that's number 2. Tweak your system now, like right now. Don't wait till the new year. Do it like right now. The third thing is to surrender to what is, what happened over the past year, especially after going through your self-inventory. Just surrender to the fact that that's what you did or you didn't do. And this is where you're at now. You can't change it. This is where you're at now. So instead of beating yourself up over the fact of what you didn't do, or getting too involved in terms of the things that you did. Just appreciate and have some gratitude for where you're at now. I mean, if you're listening to this, and you have internet access and you are able to listen to podcasts and you're enjoying yourself somewhere and you're living and you're breathing, you're in pretty good shape. I would be very grateful for that. I'm very grateful for that. Gratitude is, and I should probably say this every single show, gratitude is like the number one tool that you need in order to be successful in life. End of story. It's just to have gratitude every single day for what you have, because it puts things in perspective and it reframes your things, and it takes a lot of stress away. So surrender and enjoy. So once you surrender to what is, and that's where you're at, and this is where you're at now. If you didn't lose that 25 pounds, then you didn't lose the 25 pounds. You're not going to lose it in the next 10 days. So what's the point of beating yourself up with the fact that you didn't lose your 25 pounds? Maybe you lost 5, or maybe you gained 5. Doesn't matter at this point, right? That was like then, and this is now. So you're where you're at now. Going into the holidays, there's already so much expectation because you're around, you're around some people that you're usually not around most of the year if it's a family thing, and they may not be in your own house or in your tribe. And it just makes it worse if you come into that household, or if you go into that party, or if you go to your company thing or whatever, or anything, and you're feeling crappy because you didn't hit that goal, or your pants are still tight. So instead of that, because you know what? Nobody really cares. And don't get me wrong in terms of people caring about you. I'm sure a lot of people do care about you, even if you think they don't. I'm saying is in terms of your own thing and your 5 pounds or your 10 pounds, nobody gives a rat's ass about that. Nobody's looking at your pants and saying, oh my God, your pants look terrible and stuff. And if they are, they're douchebags and they shouldn't be a part of your tribe anyway. It's about accepting yourself for where you're at now. You got 2 more weeks left in the year. Don't kill yourself. Surrender to it and enjoy it. Enjoy it. Enjoy the parties. The vibe, the energy is different now. It's sort of the end of the year. People like to relax. People like to get together with other people. People like to enjoy other people's company and have some fun. Instead of being that person that's the Debbie Downer of the group, or that person that just can't get into the spirit of things. If you broke up with somebody, or if you're the only single person in the group, I mean, so what? So what? You're not alone. You're with a group. So just chill, surrender to it, and when you do that and you go back to that self-inventory thing that I talked about as the number one thing to do to get ahead of the game, you already have a little bit of a game plan. And if you make a small tweak in terms of your morning routine or even your afternoon routine, just a small tweak, and please make it small, a small tweak in your life, then you're doing something. Then recognize the fact that you are doing something, and you're not doing something when every other honk is sitting there after New Year's all hungover or all bent, and they got some grandiose New Year's resolution thing that they're going to work on. I'm going to lose 50 pounds, or I'm going to climb this and that, or whatever the case may be. And you know that all that stuff is just going to fade. I'm telling you, I've been going to the gym. I've been a personal trainer. I've been going to the gym for 30 years, right? And every single January, and you know, right? You probably know, it's the same thing. Same exact thing every single January. The gym is packed. And that's, I'm not bagging on the people that are there during January. I think it's great. But I'll bet you all the money I have in the world by mid-February, 85% of those people are not there. They're not going because they bit off more than they could chew. So instead of doing that, and instead of starting up right after New Year's like every other person does, do it now. Go to the gym now. The gym right now, I got to tell you, is awesome because there's nobody there at all. They're all doing their shopping. They're all doing and the people that are going to do their whole resolution thing, they're not even a part of anything now. They're not even there yet. They're still, knee deep in whatever they're dealing with because they're not focused on all that stuff, and they're actually overindulging in that negative thing right now probably thinking that they can't have it afterwards, which is a terrible mindset, but that happens every single time. I cannot tell you, in me training people for years, personal training people for years, how many times I heard the story about them saying, okay, it's the new year, I'm going to start off and we're going to do all this stuff differently. And my whole thing is, you're not going to. You may. I mean, I think it's great that you want to do that, but it's not going to happen. And so what I try to do is I try to get them to pump the brakes and settle down and just pick like one thing. Just pick one thing. Do you want to get a little bit better cardio? Do you want to do 10 minutes instead of 6 minutes at 80% of your maximum heart rate? Then great. Let's work on that one step at a time. Because everybody wants to go in and they all want to lose 20 pounds. They all want to be in beach shape in mid-January. And it's not going to happen at all. And then when they get in there and they realize that they're trying to change too many things too quickly, then they feel like shit about themselves because they can't make it happen, because nobody can make it happen. It's a lifelong process, and you got to do it slowly. Patience, man. You got to have some patience. So that being the case, that's what I'm saying. Hit the ground running. Start this right now. Start it before the New Year's. I'm telling you, you'll feel so much better if you start this before the New Year's, because you'll think that you have a one-up. Nobody, there's no race or anything, but you will think you'll have a one-up at least on yourself, as well as everybody else. I'm starting this now. I'm making small changes now. That's good. Remember, number one, self-inventory. Do an inventory about work, about where you're at, where you were, and where you want to be. Work, relationships, and fun. Those are the 3 parts of your life that you're going to do a self-inventory on. The second thing is to tweak your system now. Make one small change to your morning routine, even maybe your afternoon routine. The third thing is surrender to what is. You're at where you're at. That's what it is. And then enjoy the next 2 weeks. That's it. If you, I would love to hear what you have to say. If you have any really good end of the year resolution or Christmas or holiday stories or parties or ugly sweater party stories, and send them over. I love listening to that stuff. Also, you can listen to any of the podcasts, the 158 other podcasts on. You can go to javabud.com, JAVABUD. It's about Java being coffee and Bud being buddy. It's kind of like meeting a friend for coffee and talk about life. That's my whole shtick, and it's been that way for 7 or 8 years. JavaBud.com. You can listen to all the podcasts. You can also go to iTunes or Stitcher or SoundCloud. One of my things I'm starting right now that I will share with you before the beginning of the year is to optimize my podcast. I've decided, because I got so overwhelmed with all the other stuff, I got so overwhelmed with creating this online program or creating a webinar and any of that kind of stuff, I lost touch with content, with making my content better and better. And for me, podcast is my core content. This is what I love to do. And ever since I was in radio back in LA in the 80s, I love to do this. So I'm going to be working on optimizing my podcast in terms of making it more, just all the internet stuff, and putting it on more platforms, because there's TuneIn, and there's also I'm going to work on putting it on the Alexa, like the notifications, the flash briefings and stuff. I'm going to put it on there. That's what I'm working on. I'm working on it right now. I'm not going to wait to New Year's in order to start all this stuff up. So I hope and that's not something that's a real big thing for me. That's a small step, because I already have the podcast and I'm making small tweaks to it. Please do the same thing. I'm guarantee you'll feel so much better if you start right now and make one small tweak, do a little inventory, make one small tweak, and just enjoy the 2 weeks that are remaining in the year. Hope things are well. I'll talk to you later. Bye.